What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today we're going to be going over a brand new series for the channel. It's called The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the Great. And the idea here is we're going to be going over 2 good things, 2 bad things, 2 ugly things, and 2 great things that we saw from the previous week's game. So this week we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals game, and we're going to do this every week moving forward to just get into a little bit more depth of the specific things that I think the Jets are doing good, bad, ugly, and great. And we're going to go over them in that order so that we can always end the video on a good note, or in this case, a great note, so that I can continue to be the ultra optimist. You know, I don't want to look at this team through Gotham green colored glasses. That's why we obviously have the bad and the ugly, but there's always hope and there's always good and great things that are happening with this team, and I like focusing on those just as much as we're going to focus on the bad things. So let's start with one of the good things. Good things is one of the bright spots of this team right now that's not great, but is good, is my boy Max Mitchell and what he's doing at right tackle. If you would have asked any Jets fan not named Tigo going into the season and after we drafted Max Mitchell, they all wanted Max Mitchell to essentially take a redshirt year. They all wanted him to be on the 53-man roster, but not really ever play a snap or really ever even be activated for a game. They wanted him to stay in the system, learn and develop, and the next year take that step into that right tackle position, where I was one of the very few people who not only believed that Max Mitchell could start at right tackle, but that he would perform it at a relatively decent level. It feels good to be right about my prediction about Max Mitchell. Now, is he perfect? Absolutely not. That's why he's in the good category and not the great. He has things to work on. He's still underweight, still needs to put on 15, 20 pounds to really be an NFL tackle size, not left tackle, but an NFL tackle really. And he does have some hand and footwork things that he needs to get fixed, but in the grand scheme of things, he's performing relatively well in comparison to what we're asking him to do. So, with all of that being said, Max Mitchell definitely in one of the good categories for me. The other good category, the second good thing for me is that from here on out, unless he gets hurt again, and I'm going to knock on all the wood, we're not going to see a quarterback under center not named Zach Wilson. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. We don't have to worry about, is Joe Flacco starting? Is Mike White starting? Is all of... should we call up Streveler? None of that matters anymore. We're going to see Zach Wilson under center, and that's a big, big, important milestone for this team. Ultimately, however we end the season with wins or losses or whatever doesn't matter. The thing that matters is by the end of this season, we need to know what Zach Wilson is. We need to know if he's our quarterback of the future. I heard a great quote, and I don't remember who said this. So if you remember, please let me know in the comment section below so that I can give them credit. But somebody said that the New York Jets are drafting a quarterback this coming draft. It's going to happen. Now, whether or not they draft someone in the 1st round or the 4th round is entirely up to Zach Wilson. And I think that that's a great quote. One, because we do need to find a long-term backup to grow and develop and be with Zach for his entire career, because I don't think Mike White is the guy. Joe Flacco's 37. Chris Streveler, while he was a great storyline, isn't good enough to be an NFL quarterback or to suit up on the field ever for an NFL team. And I think that that's a great quote. While I don't think that even if Zach has unless Zach is absolutely atrocious, I don't think we're going to draft a quarterback in the 1st round. That sentiment really weighs heavily on us and weighs heavily on me, because by the end of this year, we need to know the answer. Is Zach Wilson the guy? And can we start positioning into win now mode, or are we going to go into coast mode and try to keep this team afloat while we go and find an answer at quarterback so that we're not drowning in a cap situation? And that's all that matters to me. And it's good to know that we're coming up against a relatively weak team in Pittsburgh. Keep an eye out on Wednesday. I will be dropping an article and an exclusive interview with one of my buddies who is a massive Steelers fan and is actually in sports media and stuff like that. I'm really, really excited about that. We're going to do a video. We're going to talk from his perspective what the Steelers need to do to win this game. We're going to talk from my perspective what the Jets need to do to win this game, and so on and so forth, and have a good back and forth there. Now, let's move on to the bad. I think one of the bads for me is that the players are coaching the coaches. When you look at Quinnen Williams getting up in his defensive line coach's face and screaming and saying, like, what are we doing? Why are we not running cover fours and this and that and that and this and all of these different things? When you're looking at, rushing four, not cover four, I'm sorry. When you're looking at DJ Reed having to call a player and coach meeting just for the defense, for them to figure out what's going on. You like to see the initiative from your players and your players holding each other accountable, but also holding the coaching staff accountable. It's a sign of maturity in the locker room and in the coaching staff, because we've seen coaching staffs in the past when they got ridiculed and criticized by their players, they took it negatively. We're not seeing that from this coaching staff. They're willing to admit their faults and they're willing to listen and learn, but we need to flip the roles. The coaches need to coach the players so that the players can focus on executing the playbook. And while I think that that's something that will start to happen as the year goes on and this team develops, it's troubling right now that what's going on is the players are calling these meetings, the players are coaching, the players are taking a bigger role in what's going on than the coaches are, in my opinion. And then the other bad thing falls right back onto the coaches, which is it seems like the coaches aren't adapting to what's going on in the game, offensively or defensively. We know what the holes are on this roster. Everybody knows what the holes are on this roster. And it just seems like Mike LaFleur and Jeff Ulbrich are unwilling or unknowingly, or I don't know what the word is, but they're not adapting and adjusting their play calling to help fill those holes. Mike LaFleur should be chipping on the left side constantly. Our left tackle situation is absolutely horrendous. George Fant is exactly what I thought George Fant was going to be. Mekhi Becton got hurt. McDermott isn't the guy. And the guy who was like on an Iron Man streak, essentially, in Dwayne Brown, miraculously, for like the first time in like 90 years, gets hurt. It's insane how much bad luck we've had. You can't really ask more from Joe Douglas at this point. He drafted a tackle to come in and be the thing. We had 2 starting tackles. Both of those guys went down. He brought in a Pro Bowl tackle. He went down. Like, at this point, it's on Mike LaFleur to help his quarterback and to protect the left side, the blind side, especially now that it's Zach Wilson. And then Jeff Ulbrich on the other side of the ball needs to do a better job of shoring up the middle of the field, which is going to lead me directly to my first ugly, which is the linebackers and the safeties are absolutely horrible. They are playing so bad. This was supposed to be a unit that got better. CJ finally got some help with Quan Alexander coming in, Quincy coming into year 2 of the system, and unfortunately he's injured, and I haven't seen a report of whether he's out for the year or not, but it really looked like he's out for the year. And so, like, CJ and Quan aren't playing up to snuff. While Quan is playing good football, like, CJ has taken a massive decline this year for some reason, whether that's age or scheme or I don't know what it is. Whether he's trying to overcompensate for the safeties playing badly, I just don't. But the linebackers are being really, really bad. That's why they're in this ugly category. But the other one for me is the safeties. We brought in Jordan Whitehead to be a solidifying force in that safety room. He was solid for Tampa Bay. We knew that he had problems in coverage, but we also knew that we weren't going to ask him to play in coverage very much. We were going to ask him to play downhill because, lo and behold, he was supposed to be a good, sturdy, strong tackler, someone who fundamentally was a force, a net positive in the run game and in the pass game when he's coming downhill. Up until now, he has been a net negative when it comes to that. 2 games out of 3 where the opposing team gets a touchdown because he fails to wrap up a pass catcher and he's just throwing a shoulder into a guy that's 3 or 4 inches taller than him and's got like 20 or 30 pounds on him. These are rookie mistakes. They're not even rookie mistakes because the rookies aren't making these mistakes. These are mistakes that you get taught out of you in Pop Warner. If in high school you're not wrapping up for tackles, you're running laps and you're doing suicides all practice. Like, I don't know what it is that this coaching staff needs to do, but they need to fix the tackling issue. Jordan Whitehead needs to hit the, like, I don't know what it's going on, but Jordan Whitehead needs to figure it out. And that leads me to my second ugly, and that's LaMarcus Joyner, the other safety. The fact that LaMarcus Joyner is starting for this team and playing meaningful reps for this team is an absolute travesty from top to bottom of the organization, from the Johnsons to the Waterboy. It is an absolutely horrible, atrocious. There's no other, all of the words, negative words about LaMarcus Joyner playing on this team. It doesn't make sense scheme-wise. It doesn't make sense talent-wise. It doesn't make sense development-wise. We are a young team. And we have young players that we need to know what the answer are like who they are as football players, especially going into this next draft, because this next draft is the draft that should solidify this team, fill all the holes, and now we're a playoff team. We can't do that if we don't know what Tony Adams and Ashton Davis are, because we're playing 30-year-old LaMarcus Joyner, who hasn't played safety since 2019, and in 3 games has been by far and away the worst player on the field. And I'm including the one snap that LaMarcus Joyner took, that Lawrence Cager took where he slipped and caused an interception, or Bryce Hall covering a guy almost entirely and still letting him catch the ball. Joyner has been by far and away the worst player on the New York Jets team, and he is still starting when we have an undrafted free agent, young kid in Tony Adams that could get those reps. And I'd rather see Tony Adams be bad and getting those meaningful reps, because he actually has an opportunity to be on this team beyond this year. And Ashton Davis, a Joe Douglas draft pick who has been getting better slowly and surely, and a kid that I believe in, and I know not a lot of Jets fans do, but I believe in. I'd rather see him go out there and fail and be wrong and know that Ashton Davis isn't the answer than have him spend another year just playing special teams, and then now next year we don't know what we're going to do at free safety. We've got to waste a draft pick because we don't know what these guys are. And what happens if Tony Adams next year takes a massive step and we just wasted a 3rd-round pick on a safety when we could have known the answer if we just played him going in? You can tell that I'm not the biggest fan of LaMarcus Joyner, and it's because I'm not. I'm not going to sugarcoat the words. He should not be on this roster. He needs to be cut or benched or promoted to the coaching staff. Make him a water boy. I don't care what it is. He should not be starting games for this defense because he is actively being a detriment to this defense and what we can accomplish defensively. Whew. Now let's talk about some great things. Let's end on a positive note. There's 2 great things, and these 2 great things actually turn out to be 4 great things because I'm doing one offensive great thing and then 1 defensive great things, and they're pairs in that. And offensively, we're going to have to talk about Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. They are absolute studs. I saw a tweet from a New York Jets fan, and they basically said, and I agreed with the sentiment, that it's hard after a game like the Cincinnati Bengals game to be and try to look at the bright side of something and to look at the silver lining, especially immediately after the game. But we can look at the end of that game and really the last 3 games and know for a fact that Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are future superstars in this league and that we got those draft picks right. It wasn't hard to get those draft picks right when you take the best wide receiver of the draft and then the best running back of the draft when you can. But we've seen how many times that how many new Philadelphia Eagles first-round wide receivers are busts, or how many New England Patriots first-round wide receivers are busts. You see it all the time. And so it's really, 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 really nice to see that Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, not only are they rookies and they're going to be on this team for a long time, but man, these guys were legit and they were getting the job done. Unfortunately, the rest of the team around them wasn't able to really contribute or help, and that's not their fault. But when they were given the opportunity, they far exceed my expectations for what I expected them to do as rookies. And let's talk on the defensive side of the ball. And you know who I'm going to be talking about. It has to be Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, who right now is quite possibly the most elite pair on our team. Of any position group, DJ Reed and Sauce are probably leading the team when it comes to elite level play. Sauce isn't at that elite level yet. He's still getting his foot in the NFL door, but man, has he been showing really, really great signs, covering Jamar Chase, not letting him record a single snap against a single catch, against him, and only giving up one touchdown while he's constantly getting challenged. And DJ Reed, while being undersized, is handling number one wide receivers with ease. DJ Reed is slowly but surely turning into the absolute highway robbery thievery by Joe Douglas in this free agency period, because DJ Reed is that dude going into week 4, and partnering him with Sauce is absolutely the right move. I'm never going to doubt Joe Douglas ever again, because I doubted the Sauce pick, not because I didn't think Sauce was good, but because I didn't think we needed to get Sauce. But man, was I wrong. Boy, am I happy to see Sauce and DJ out there, and Garrett and Breece on our team. They're all in Gotham Green, and they're young, and we're going to have them for a long time. And this can start, and we're starting to look at what's going to be the core of this football team moving forward. So it's really, really exciting to see that. Guys, let me know what you guys think are the good, the bad, the ugly, the great from what we saw from this New York Jets football team. And last but not least, go Jets.